Hey, I'm Marina.
And I'm Emily.
And I've seen everything in the Sex and the City empire 10,000 times.
And I'm starting fresh.
So I'll be woman-splaining the show.
And I'm along for the ride.
But there's a twist. We are starting with And Just Like That and working our way back to the beginning.
So in other words, we're watching it backwards and in high heels.
This is City and the Sex.
I've done a lot of those, and that's the worst one so far. That one made me so uncomfortable. Because I think that one had like 3 different beats to it. There was a journey.
There was a story. We joked that was like, what are you going to do when it's the 100th episode? I'm like, 6 episodes in of doing this, and I'm already running out of ideas. I'm already like scrambling at the straws to like figure out what to do. But that one was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah. I think that's where we're gonna go next. Is there gonna be like multiple sounds in one? Like,
yeah, it'll be a beginning, middle, end. You know, catharsis,
very good.
Theatrical. Well, welcome. Today we're talking about Sex and the City season 6, episode 10. This episode is called "Boy Interrupted." Do you get the reference?
It's because it's a movie reference to the movie where the girl's in the institution.
Yeah.
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 I got it.
That's a noggin that's working.
Oh boy, G Willikers, I got the reference.
Yeah. This episode's really like when we were talking about the burger arc. And you said, actually, you were like, it's amazing that this is like the last season and they're still firing on all cylinders with like these ideas. And for the most part, they have been. But this like lull period of single Carrie, this episode, I'm like, where are we going? Where are you taking me?
This is a good transition because my one word for this is so mean, but it's going to be filler. But before you turn off the podcast, there are a lot of really interesting things that I kind of can't wait for us to talk about and get into this. However, this episode also is very much like we're treading the wheels a little bit. I did afterward look at how many episodes are left of the season because I'm like, when do we start to do the plot again? You know, like I'm feeling a little lost. So I think that is my note for this episode is like, there are interesting things that I'm excited to get your thoughts on. However, I don't know where we are. We're floating in space a little bit. And maybe that's why it gets a little like, where are we going?
Yeah. My one word will be August days. Because it's like, it feels like an August episode. And they comment on about how hot it is. And like random things are happening that can only be explained by the fugue state that comes with being in a New York summer.
Yes, yeah. And the end of the New York summer. So everyone is like both high pressure. I need to get everything done and all the fun before school starts, you know, kind of like August feeling. And also you're like, I'm exhausted because it's so hot and I've just spent the summer doing a million things and I don't want anyone to look at me or talk to me ever again. Yeah.
This episode is supremely August coded.
That is so fucking on point. It's so on point.
No, but this episode's crazy. I mean, I was watching it literally. No, but I was like watching halfway through and I was like, what is this is like cobbled together. And I kind of realized that like single Carrie is like always a chaotic time. Like when they give her a long-term romantic interest is like when things start to really click and when things start to really like kick off. But when she's like single, the episodes go to crazy town, literally, so fast.
That's a really astute point. It's very astute.
And it's true of And Just Like That, too. Like, when she is, like, not dating the teacher or not dating the whatever, like, and she's, like, just dating guys around town, you're like, this episode's insane.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, the energy is somehow threatening.
Yeah. Well,
here we
let's
go.
Get into it. Season 6, episode 10, Boy Interrupted. So we open on Carrie, and she's going to meet up with her high school sweetheart, and it's David Duchovny.
That was really funny. I love seeing guest stars in old, shows like 90s, the early 2000s. I love seeing like guest stars like this. I also just love that his entrance is like a backwards turn into camera. It feels very sitcom, like, hey, it's Kramer, that kind of entrance. And I responded. I also clapped, so as if it was Kramer. So
yeah,
he's here.
So there are 3 celebrity cameos in this episode, which is like also why it feels like an August episode where it's like just jam everybody in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we got to have all the goof troop time before we get back into the serious stuff. So this is the first of the 3. I would now like to read from the Sex and the City Kiss and Tell show book.
Okay, we are flying. We're right into it. Okay.
This is the funniest blurb, like ironically, one of the funniest blurb we've had to read to date. Okay.
Okay.
So this episode was written by Cindy Shupak, who we've come across before. She says, "We found out that David Duchovny was interested in working with us, and Sarah Jessica was really excited about the idea. It was funny. You're never that excited when someone changes your words, but David was so charming and funny and smart. He ad-libbed quite a bit. When he says, 'It's much better without the gear shift sticking up my ass,' those were his words." That's the entire blurb.
That's it for this episode?
Nothing about Soho House. Yeah. Nothing about anything interesting. Literally just David wanted to be on the show, so here he is. And also he ad-libbed.
That's all. Okay. I kept waiting for the story to start, and then you just closed the book.
Literally, that's it.
Okay.
And because of that, in my notes, I refuse to remember his character name and refer to him only as David Duchovny.
Okay, excellent, good. Because he doesn't have a name, actually. It is David.
It's just David Duchovny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they bump into each other and they notice how great they both are and how great they both look. And then she's like, "Oh, do you want to get dinner?" And he's like, "Well, I thought you had plans, but they seemed kind of fictional." And she's like, "They are fictional," and throws him out the window to go on a date. Yay.
It's funny to watch. Like, it's refreshingly honest. I thought the scene was sort of cute of him being like, "Were those fake plans in case I was a loser?" And her being like, "Yeah." It's like sort of funny, yeah.
I mean, he's giving like puppy dog in this episode in a way that's working.
Yeah. He knows his role.
I also just love, and obviously we'll get into it more, but I love that this whole episode is high school coded. Like they even get the direction to act as if you're like in a high school scene. It's very, this episode's giving theater.
Yes, I love that. And it's ironic that we're talking about it as such a like cobbled together crazy episode, because it is one of the more cohesive themes we've had, which is like they're all in high school again.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what the blurb was going to be about, honestly, but
nope, it's just about David Duchovny.
Okay.
Marching his way onto the show. So then we cut to Dr. Robert Leeds, who stops by Miranda to like say hi. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't think you'd be home on a Saturday night." And she's like, motherhood. Sad. And he offers her 2 courtside tickets to the Knicks. And she ends the scene on the line, "Was this a charity game or just charity?" I don't know how obvious this man needs to be that he's into you.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I almost threw the remote at the TV because I was like, what are you talking? Like the whole plot here of her being like, is he into me? I don't know. And I get it. It's the high school thing. It's the high school thing.
The high school thing.
Yeah. It's clearly into you, but it's also like you're a grown ass woman. This man is giving you courtside tickets to the Knicks. It's obvious that he's fucking into you. He's around all the time buying gifts for your kids. Wake up. Wake up.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Get her.
Sorry.
Get her. Yeah. It's so funny.
I know it's for comedic effect, but guess this is the one high school plot where it's not fucking working for me. I'm sorry.
And you're like, actually, grow the fuck up.
Actually, see me after class. So Carrie and David are walking and talking, and he's like, "Actually, I'm here staying in Connecticut, taking a break in the countryside." And because he's like, "I work too hard in Denver," wherever the fuck he's coming from for this one episode.
He just made that up.
Just making up name. No, he does say Denver at some point, but anyway. And then they kind of have this like flirtatious back and forth where they're like, I don't know, do we kiss? Well, we've already kissed because we kissed in high school. Like, I don't know, should we kiss? And he's like, well, one more kiss wouldn't hurt. And then they kiss. And that's that plot for now.
It's cute. Whatever. We're, again, there's nothing really particularly offensive about this.
No, he's selling it though.
It's cute. Yeah, it is. I think it is selling a sort of fantasy a little bit of like the high school boyfriend who maybe you didn't break up with for bad terms. You just like both graduated. And then it is a bit of like a fantasy wish fulfillment-y thing, you know, of like, what if we just had another little date?
Yeah, it all worked out. We were meant to be together. I get it. It's cute.
It's cute.
And I love the transition that we have here where Carrie's like, it was a romantic hot summer night followed by a miserable hot summer day. And we see that like Samantha's melting, which I really feel that right now.
Yes. Relatable. I'm such a baby with like both extreme weathers. Like I'll get too cold easily. I'll get too hot easily. I'm basically just not evolutionarily designed to be on this planet.
No.
Because I'm just easily uncomfortable. And I am very much Samantha of like I'm sweating, I'm angry, I'm fanning myself with a magazine. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I'm like, yep, that's me. That's me. That's my summer.
Yeah. When climate change, I mean, it's already upon us, but when it like really gets going into like the years where the sun like actively burns us alive, I'm not going to make it. I'll just say that up front.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very sensitive. I just got back from a trip where I think I got a sun rash, which didn't know those were a thing. And that's where I live now. So I relate to this very heavily.
Yeah. We're delicate. Please take care of us.
Please. We be babies. But she bumps into our second celebrity cameo, Jerry Halliwell, also known as Ginger Spice.
What's happening in this episode?
Again, it just feels like, oh, fuck, we're contractually obligated as a show to have like 8 celebrity cameos, but we've only had 5. So we'll just jam 3 in at the last minute here.
Okay. All right. Ginger Spice.
I also love that she's like in a full bikini in the New York street.
Yeah, it's like, I think she thought this was going to be like a Miami special episode. You know, she was like, she showed up and they were like, okay, well, you can wear that, I guess.
Yeah, I also feel like she's like, and respect to her, obviously, because she is incredibly hot. I feel like she was like, I'm hot and I should be hot on this show. And everyone was like, okay.
Yeah. We did discuss that if we were ever to have a celebrity cameo, that's what we would do is like, I want to wear a nice outfit.
Right.
I would have obviously just shown up in a ball gown or whatever. Like, I'm in Sex and the City. I'm going to wear whatever I want. So I think that's what she's probably, I think you're exactly right. She's like, I want to look really hot. Do you
and
have
like
an episode
show off my abs, which by all means, you know what I mean? But they look great, right. And you should. Anyway, she bumps into Jerry Halliwell, and Jerry Halliwell's like, oh, I feel refreshed. I was just by the pool at the Soho House. It's the only way to spend your August. And Samantha's like, I want to be in the Soho House. When I first moved to New York in 2017, Soho House was still hot. Like, people were telling me like, oh, you have to join Soho House. And I don't know, maybe if that's because I was like 23 and like that's what all the 23-year-olds were doing to be cool. But I feel like it has since faded. I don't hear anybody talk about Soho House anymore.
That's a good point.
But maybe because I'm not in the Soho House like
I'm not in the like
clan,
scene
I don't get to hear about it, you know?
Yeah. And I think maybe there is something to that because I only really heard it in the context of like younger people thinking it was trendy. I don't think that was ever seen as like the cool thing for older people. So maybe that is it. We've just aged out of Soho House.
We've thankfully aged out of Soho House. Yeah. Rip to Soho House, I guess. I don't know, question mark.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. Send us a note.
Let us know. So anyway, we cut to the girls at brunch and Samantha's commiserating about the lack of pool access. Apparently she's on a waiting list and she can't understand why she's on a waiting list because she's Samantha Jones. Carrie shares that she's dating her high school sweetheart again. Samantha's like, oh, I can't wait till you sleep with him, a proper homecoming. And then Carrie's like, no, we haven't gone all the way yet. It's going. It's working.
Yeah, we're doing the cutesy high school thing. Yeah.
Then we cut to Charlotte being a psychopath, being like, you're going to marry him. The way that they have such a close-up on her face and she's like delighted and also a little crazy and being like, you're gonna marry him.
It's like, okay.
Incredible.
The Council of Elders today everyone was in their lane today, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone knew their job.
Carrie does end the scene on a banger here where they're like, oh, like who broke up with who or whatever. And she's like, I actually broke up with him because I thought it's high school. There must be better guys out there. Guess not. 10 out of 10.
That is funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Banger. So then Carrie is at home columning and she ends on, did we have it right in high school? Kind of saying like, times were simpler back then. We just kind of fell in love. And like, as adults, do we overcomplicate things? Like, is it better to just keep things simple?
Puppy love.
I mean, I think that is an interesting premise. Unfortunately, the episode takes a turn. So that is immediately invalidated. But,
It would have been nice to explore that. It's a cute idea.
It's a cute idea.
Too bad this episode is not about that.
Yeah, too bad that this takes a dark turn. But, it is an interesting question. I do feel like sometimes we do overcomplicate things,
Yeah, we do. We get in our own way, There's something to be said about just puppy love. But also, you don't have to marry your high school sweetheart just because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could date other people first.
I feel like this episode then like bifurcates where it's like a bunch of unhinged stuff in one corner and then Samantha's Soho House plot, which is amazing.
Is its own thing.
Is its own thing and is great. So Samantha storms into Soho House and is basically like, what's holding up my membership? And the woman's like, well, we're at full capacity. She actually goes, the pool is so popular that we're at full capacity, which is like, okay, calm down. Bitchy Soho House attendant, I get it. Michael Patrick King's thing. I see you. I know you. Calm down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then Samantha's like, do you know who I am? And then the woman's basically like, no. And then Samantha's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Or am I not allowed to go to the bathroom because I'm not a member? And the woman's like, of course, you can enjoy our restroom. Samantha goes in there and the cleaning lady finds a rogue membership card and is like, oh, ma'am, you left your card. And Samantha's like, I guess from now on, I am Annabelle Bronstein. And this is how I'm going to get into the Soho House. Which, genius.
She's in. I mean, she's Veronica Mars for this. She's figured it out. She's in.
I don't know if you remember, but in her 30-second cameo in And Just Like That, she makes an Annabelle Bronstein joke.
In that tiny 30-second clip, she somehow references this?
Yes.
What? Wait, please explain. I've completely forgotten this.
Okay, this is where I'm going to pull up the clip because I don't remember the exact dialogue. But because, remember, she's a London woman now. Carrie, like, holds the phone and is like, speak to the apartment. And then Samantha's like, goodbye, you fabulous, fabulous flat, with a little bit of a British accent. And Carrie's like, do you have a British accent? And she goes, this isn't Samantha. This is Annabelle Bronstein. And it's a reference to this episode.
That is so crazy because, first of all, I do not remember this line, but first of all, that means that when I first watched this scene, I was like, what the hell does that line mean? It just sounds like kooky and strange to just be like, oh, this is this other person. It's like, all right. Second of all, that's such a crazy specific reference to make that I kind of love because, like, this is such a one-off thing that I'm going to guess she's not going to do this again. So, like, this is a completely one-off C plot of a filler episode that they reference in her brief $1 million cameo.
Yeah.
Is pretty crazy, and I kind of love that. And also, it just, in just like that fashion, begs more questions because who is the dramaturge who like found this line and like helped them like make this reference, who's also missing all the other stuff that they somehow forgot happened in Sex and the City and then completely drop in it just like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like their dramaturg is like unconscious and then like the Samantha cameo came around and they were like, Annabelle Bronstein.
Yeah. Or they hired a dramaturg just for that episode. And he showed up with that reference ready to go.
that's like an "Oh, Emily" moment from the past.
That
Days of Future Past,
reached. Yay!
That I've reached. That now makes sense. I do think at the time you were like, what is she talking about? And I was like, you'll know someday.
Because that line
this
is
damn
very
episode.
strange out of context. Yeah, we've made it.
Yay! So we cut to Samantha the next day on a floaty in the Soho House pool wearing high heels.
Dangerous.
Can we talk about, well, first of all, to get on a floaty, you can't get on a floaty by land. You have to swim. So that means she walked into the pool with her heels on and then climbed onto a floaty in like the clumsy way everybody has to climb onto a floaty with her heels on.
There's no smooth way to get on one of these.
No. You look very smooth once you're on the floaty, but getting on and off, impossible. Mm-hmm. It's just like a hammock too. There's no graceful way to get into a hammock.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I do also appreciate that she doesn't charge at all to this mysterious Annabelle Bronstein, because the waiter's like, oh, like, do you want more cocktails or whatever? And she's like, yes, and I'll pay in cash. I mean, principles.
It's nice. Yeah. Very respectable.
Yes. So then we cut to Stanford at cafeteria with his boyfriend, Marcus. I don't remember. Have we eaten at cafeteria together? Because I went through a big cafeteria phase.
Well, so I was just going to say, I didn't know cafeteria was like a big trendy thing. I just knew it as cafeteria. I've been there a few times, but I didn't know it was like a Sex and the City location. You know what I mean?
It was a big one because it's one of the few that's like name dropped. Like they go to a lot of restaurants that like people can recognize and stuff.
And we'll
but like this one was like specifically name dropped.
Because it's cafeteria and it's a high school episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be cute.
Wow. I didn't connect that until this moment, but I want to throw up.
Yeah, listeners, Marina's eyes just rolled into the back of her head. And her head just spun around like The Exorcist.
Wow. So I was going to make this about me because I love this restaurant, but then you just said that and I was like...
I derailed everything.
I can't speak.
Put your head back on. Wait, it's like spinning.
I can't. Like I've lost the ability to speak. Like, wow. And I'm usually good at picking up the dumb shit like that. I did not pick up at all that they eat at cafeteria and they call it out by. I thought there was like some tie-in.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a very kind of like pro LGBTQ space. So I thought it was some sort of, no, it's because it's high school. Wow. No, I can't. Oh, this episode. Okay.
It's making us turn inside out.
I'm just like making noises. I'm like the guy, I'm like the Nazis in the Ark of the Covenant when they open
that's
it.
Literally what's happening.
Like,
it's like the mannequin is left, but the clay on her face is melting off. Oh my god! And she's melting.
Oh my god, I can't breathe.
Close your eyes.
Oh my god, this is just like me screaming, but like, oh wow, no.
Oh my god.
This is why I don't like horror movies. I don't like to be surprised. Like I'm like sweating. I'm gonna pass out.
This is what happens when Marina has a very carefully laid out plan for an episode, and she has her color-coded notes, and she's like, "Here's what I'm gonna say for this scene," and then if you disrupt her plan, she goes into fits.
Wow,
and needs to be talked off a ledge.
Like, I should have known better. Dial my therapist. Yeah, I cannot deal with being like surprised, ambushed like this. Like, again, Emily's not joking.
Look at her color-coded notes.
I have jokes. I have things to say. I usually catch every single dumb reference. The fact that I did not get that at all, I gotta quit. Thank you so much. Thank you for liking and subscribing. This episode is over. Okay, I'm coming down. I'm coming down to drink some water.
Okay, 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Box breathing.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
I'm back.
And she just takes a sip of her mug like nothing happened. Like I didn't just watch her turn inside out and back again.
Okay.
I like how also angry you are. You were like, no! You can't have said something I didn't notice. What?
I'm visibly angry. Okay. Stanford Blatch is at cafeteria with his boyfriend Marcus. And Charlotte and Anthony show up. And I do love that Stanford is like, oh, we're going to go over there and say something. And Marcus is like, what? Why? And he's like, because you're in a tank top.
It's very funny.
I love it. They march over there, and basically Stanford's like, oh, we're going to go get our tuxes because we're going to an LGBTQ prom fundraiser, which is very cute. And Anthony just like spins the knife in this guy. Just like repeated, like Stanford's like, oh, I didn't get to go to my prom. He's like, why? Because you're gay? And then Stanford's like, no, it's because like my prom date said no. And then Anthony's like, because you're gay? I'm like, you are also a gay man. Why are you so mean?
And Stanford's trying to like share like a sweet personal story. And Anthony's like, let me torture this man and mock him as much as I can.
They get married.
Yeah. And now I already knew that them getting married was a contentious thing kind of for fandom because it is, I remember it being sort of random. Now I really appreciate how random that is. Like,
yeah,
that's insulting.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like you could read it one of two ways because I was watching this scene and I was like, oh, they're clearly into each other. But then I was like, I can't tell if that's the brainwashing coming through, you know? I can't
tell.
Like
ad hoc, you know, you're trying to make sense of it because you've been told you've been gaslit.
Told, yeah. Or if he's just
like
being violently mean to this guy. I don't know, but it's aggressive. And then he spreads the rumor that Marcus was a gay escort because he saw him in the Rancho section of Honcho magazine. And his fictional name was Paul, which I agree is the worst name for an escort.
Yeah, why would you choose a name and make it that?
So then we cut to Miranda and Charlotte at the Knicks game, and they are capital C, capital S courtside.
Yeah.
It's thrilling to watch.
Like they might as well be next to Spike Lee.
She and Robert are eye fucking across the court. It's again painfully obvious that this man is into her. I'm also like, do all sports doctors wear a suit on the court? I feel like maybe back in the day when coaches used to wear suits, but like, do people in basketball still wear suits?
That's a good question. I think the coaches do wear suits.
But like the doctor?
I guess it would make sense that the trainer also does.
It's just funny because for some reason I'm like, shouldn't he be in scrubs? But maybe that's because
he was not going to be in scrubs. No, that is really funny. No, he's not going to be in scrubs.
I think I just want my like girl fantasy of like him in scrubs on the court, being like, "Yeah, you tie that ankle." I'm disgusting. We've been through this.
I'm a goblin.
I'm a goblin. I am both the best of womankind and the worst.
I am the destroyer of worlds. That image, though, is amazing of, like, all the players on the bench, and then you have the coach, the assistant coaches or whatever are in their suits, and then the doctor's there just really out of place, just in his scrubs. He's got the little booties, like, over his sneakers.
Yeah, and the little
hat, hairnet.
You know?
Yeah. It's like a stethoscope. It's like, I'm here in case anyone gets hurt. I think that's so funny. That's so cute.
I think at this point it's painfully obvious that I've never been to a sports game.
Where's a stethoscope? He's a doctor.
It's painfully obvious that like I do not engage in sports, have never engaged in sports. My boyfriend desperately trying to get me into soccer, and I do it purely for him, but I'm not paying attention. You know what I
mean? We're coming clean here.
I don't know, but man, I hope they make that goal. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that in itself is also a really funny line to say to someone in any sporting situation. I don't know, man, but man, I hope they make that goal.
Man, I hope you make that goal.
I hope the team win. Where's the doctor? How do I tell which one's the doctor?
The doctor.
If they're all wearing suits.
I don't know. Well, anyway, the dancers come out. Mm-hmm. And they do their routine to Rolling on a River by Tina Turner. And one of them is very much trying to eye fuck Dr. Robert Leeds as well. She's got the full tongue out being like, la, 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 mid, splits.
Yeah.
Very obviously going for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes Miranda insecure. And so she's like, I don't want to go talk to him. He doesn't like me. And then Charlotte's like, no, you have to go talk to him. He invited you to the game. He's clearly obsessed with you. And then the dancer walks over to Dr. Robert Leeds and they're chatting. And she's like, I don't know. He could be into the cheerleader. And then she gives Dr. Robert Leeds a big hug. And Miranda's like, it's over. He's not into me. He's never been into me. And I hate it. It's stupid, but I'm into it for the theming of this episode.
Right, exactly. We'll allow it this once.
This one time. No more times.
Yeah, it's so easy to give up on, like after that hug, it's like, yeah, Marina, you gotta fight a little more than that.
Come on, girly, do something.
Let's get back in the game.
Get back in the game, girl. Yeah, no, it's annoying. But then we cut to Carrie and David Duchovny making out on her bed. And she's like, I think we can go all the way tonight. And he's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can stay. And then he's like, I have to tell you something. I'm sort of in a mental institution, which I think is the funniest way to tell somebody that. I think that's like, unfortunately, the funniest way to deliver that news. Like, is he also a comedy queen? Because he might be.
Actually, he was supposed to deliver the news in a totally different scene. David Duchovny just felt it and went for it.
Was like, I'm sort of in a mental institution.
And the writer was like, that was funny. Keep that in.
Keep that in, yeah. So then Carrie and the four girls and Stanford are all at Soho House, and Carrie is like telling them about this. And then she's like, oh, he's at Juno Spears. And Samantha's like, oh, I hear that place is really good. I've sent a couple clients there. And Stanford's like, oh, how come I've never heard of anybody going there? And she's like, because I'm good at my job.
Good answer.
Correct. And because we're kind of on this thing of like, oh, my high school sweetheart's in a mental institution, Miranda's like, well, I'm 38 and I'm competing with a cheerleader for my love interest.
No, you're not.
I wrote it down because I was like, ew. And I was like, she's also not a cheerleader. Like, I feel like the one thing I do know about sport is, because I went to University of Maryland and we're very aggressive about the sport, is that there's like 3 separate divisions. There's like a cheerleading division and then a sporting dance division. And that's what that is. So actually, I want to correct her and say that they're not even cheerleaders because they don't do poms.
Oh my God, get her. Wow, look at you.
Yeah, I'm an expert.
Marina knows her sports.
I actually taught poms for an entire summer once because they accidentally put me into teaching that class. And what I did was I made different little cheerleading girl coloring sheets, and that's what we did most of the time. But I know what I'm talking about.
Of course you did. Second of all, what do you mean accidentally?
What I mean is I was a counselor, and as a counselor, you like sign up for the classes you want to teach. And I did not sign up to teach poms because I don't know what I'm doing. And then I got my schedule for the summer and they were like, congratulations, you're teaching a section of poms. And I was like, what? And luckily I was a counselor in training. So there was a real counselor who actually had done poms and actually taught poms, but I was like learning with the kids and her. And so because of that, I like know poms. I mean, I don't know how to do flips and shit. That's my one white whale, is that I cannot do a backflip. But I know like home and T and like all the Y, like all the different like pom-pom formations.
I'm so impressed. First, you're the mayor of Munchkinland, and now you
same summer camp.
I'd say this summer camp is amazing.
Yeah, half of my lore comes from this one summer camp. where my mother ditched me for the entire summer and left me to just run wild and do inappropriate things that I now see when I can't fall asleep in my brain plays on a repeat. We all have that little library of things we play in our sleep. Mine, 50% of it comes from this one summer camp.
Oh my God. What a hell of a summer. That is a move. That is a TV series I'm greenlighting.
Oh, how I fucked up somehow every year at this camp because I went there for like 6 to 7 years of my life.
Wow. And oh my God, I did not know that this was such a big...
And it's nothing but fumbles. It's nothing but done goofs all the way through that haunt me.
One after another.
There's a man who directs Disney shows on cruises who hates me to this day because of the things I did there.
I want to hear the rest of that story after recording. I want to just leave that in for the audience as a tease, and then you and I will talk.
Yeah, and also my therapist will join. But let's just say summer camp, big deal.
No, big deal. Yeah, I'd say so.
Big deal.
I'd say so. Kind of a big deal.
So anyway, as we were saying, we're at the Soho House. Stanford's basically like, oh, Carrie, like, I'm sorry that he surprised you with that, but like, that's what's important about a relationship. Marcus and I tell each other everything. We have no secrets. And then he goes to swim in the pool. And then everybody's like, Charlotte, why do you look weird? And I love that they do this playful passing the
notes.
Honcho magazine so that they all get to like learn that Marcus was an escort. And,
well, serve Stanford right, I should say, for being like, sucks to suck. My new boyfriend, who I've been dating for like a week, and I share no secrets, and we like we know all of our. It's like, thanks, Stan. That's really comforting.
I mean, karmically, it was coming for him, unfortunately.
Yeah. You can't say that, and then that's asking for the cosmic universe to have your boyfriend secretly be an escort from a previous life.
Yeah, I mean, begging for it. So he catches Samantha with the magazine and he's like, what's that? What is this? And he looks at it and he's like, oh my God. And then he's like, how did you find this out? And she's like, I found out from Carrie. Carrie's like, I found out from Miranda. Miranda's like, I found out from Charlotte. Charlotte's like, I found out from Anthony. And poor Stanford is devastated. As I think we all would be, you know?
Yeah.
Although I will say, as we go on, there is a little bit of shaming here for sex work that I don't appreciate. But
okay, I was gonna say that, and then I held my tongue, and I was like, maybe I should save this for the later conversation that happens about this. But we can say that now. Yeah, I would also be sort of like hurt and shocked that he kept this from me. You know, I understand where Stanford's coming from, I say, but also it does get a little 90s about it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, because we're already there, but like basically Stanford breaks up with him over this. And he says, oh, I broke up with him because it's about the secrecy or whatever. But I don't think this is a big secret because it's not like he's currently an escort.
Right.
Like you could tell this issue was from 1992. So like he's not an escort anymore. I think it's kind of rude. I feel like he broke up with him because he was a sex worker, which is shitty.
It's pretty, yeah.
And also he's not a sex worker. Like the fact that at the end when he comes up and is like, well, I haven't been a sex worker for years or whatever. It's like, yeah, then it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't a current thing we're discussing. This is in his past that you've like shamed him for. It's kind of sad.
I understand not liking secrets. I understand being taken off guard, but breaking up with him over this is a little cringe. Yeah. I'll say that.
Yeah. He's been through things. So let him be.
Let him be.
Sex work is work.
So then a staffer comes over to say that Annabelle Bronstein is in London and Samantha is doing her best to MacGyver her way out of this. And with every line, she's just digging herself a new hole. She's like, no, I'm not in London. I'm here. And he's like, and she's British. And she's like, yes, tally-ho. In like the best British accent of all time. Carrie's like, oh no, like she's got a case of the Madonnas. Perfect. And then I love that he's like, well, Annabelle was raised in Sussex like I was. And then she goes, no, I was raised in India.
India.
The only way to pronounce India, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to the subcontinent, but it's Inja.
It's Inja.
It's the British colonial voice.
Form. Like she's in freaking Lawrence of Arabia. I love it.
Yeah, literally. It's like,
I love it.
and while this is happening, everyone's like sneaking out.
Everybody's like secretly being like, bye.
Let's get out of here.
Amazing. So then we cut to Miranda and Dr. Robert Leeds at the mailboxes. And Miranda's kind of like, oh, do you like her? And he's like, no, I like you. And then they furiously make out. And then the crotchety neighbor comes and is like, hey! And then they like break up making out. And again, it's very this high school acting thing. And I will give it a pass again. But
didn't fucking nice.
So the episode's like fun. We're having a great time. And then the back half of this episode, which is just Carrie and David Duchovny, is like really rough. Really rough. I'm like holding myself, shaking myself, rough.
Yeah.
So David brings a bag of marbles over to Carrie's house and is like, ahaha, I brought you a bag of marbles in case I lose mine. Okay.
I don't like that.
Why do I feel like I'm in a sauna suddenly?
It's like when people who don't really understand what bits are try to overly manufacture a bit and then it gets weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to make a marble joke, but then actually bringing a bag of marbles to my house is like not funny. So it now is just weird.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable. He comes over and he's like, I just want to say, I feel like I presented my situation much worse than it is, which, LOL, he's trying to do some PR rebranding here, and I can respect that. He basically tries to sell it to her that like, I could have gone through years of therapy, but like, if I just do it all in like 2 months at this place, I can just like get it out. Cause I realize like some things have been harder for me than have been for other people, particularly because of my childhood. And this moves Carrie so much that they have sex.
I don't know when I should it's like, this is sort of complicated because I think what's tricky about his plot is that there are a lot of things about his story and the way that he talks about it that I actually think is sort of nice and refreshing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, there's like these hints of things where I'm like, oh, it actually is sort of nice to like hear someone explain it this way on TV. And oh, it's actually kind of nice to have someone actually do normalize like institutions like this. Like, there is actually something here. And then there's kind of other parts of it that also just sort of feel glib, you know what I mean? And I can't really figure out why I'm getting two completely different reactions of this. I don't know if it's just like every other line feels different or every other scene feels different, but yeah, it's like then they have sex and Carrie's so like turned on by this and I'm like, is this good? I don't think this is good. I think like I don't really know how I'm supposed to feel about this.
I feel like this is where the high school framing starts to actually fail. Like we were making fun about it with Miranda and Dr. Robert Leeds, but it's working kind of, I get it. I'm annoyed, but I get it. This is where the high school framing and the director has clearly given Sarah Jessica the note of like, we're going back to our high school selves. You're acting like your high school self, which is like really hard to square with a guy who is basically going through an episode so difficult that he has to check into an institution.
Right.
He's not just like in therapy and a little kooky. He is in an institution because he can't like, he needs the extra support, which I'm not making fun of. But I think because of the way Carrie's acting, it feels like they're making fun of it.
I don't know. I'm like, I'm glad that it's going to end soon, so it doesn't matter. But there is a part where I'm like, is this okay for him? Like, we don't even know what his problem is, So I'm like, something about this feels strange. I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay to do this?
I had the same thought, too, when we got to the end of the episode, which is like, we never really learn why he's there or how bad his condition is. Mm-hmm. And I feel like because they didn't want to make fun of
any particular thing.
Yeah, any particular thing or of him directly. Because, like, it's David Duchovny, and he's here to have fun. It's just, like, I had a comedy teacher once who, when we would pitch stuff, sometimes people would pitch these premises and he would be like, that's a great tweet, but that's not a whole sketch. And I feel like the line, you know, my boyfriend's in a mental institution is like a fun tweet, but it's the second it becomes like a longer thing in the episode, it like is hard to sustain without feeling
just making a joke over and over again. That's
about a guy who's like struggling.
Yeah. It's like not cute and fun anymore. Now we're just being a little mean.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well,
we're almost there.
We hard cut to Miranda and the Dr. Robert Leeds having crazy sex to Rolling on the River, which is a callback.
Very funny.
Very funny. So then Stanford and Carrie hang out, and this is where we learn that Willie basically is like, the secret bothers me, so I broke up with Marcus, which, again, we talked about it. I think it's a little fucked. But then Stanford's like, oh, I can't go to the prom. Carrie, you have to go to the prom with me. And Carrie's like, I can't. I have to visit my boyfriend in the asylum. Which, again, it's like, it's a funny tweet, but I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. So then Carrie goes to this facility, and you like see her have to like check in through multiple doors that are like locked from the inside, which again is unsettling. They have a relaxing picnic, and I love that Carrie is in such a delusion that she's like, all New Yorkers should come here and do this and like relax in the countryside. This is good for all New Yorkers.
Yeah.
One of the patients runs out just screaming the word feces. He's being chased by two attendants, and they have to pin him to the ground and then escort him back into the building. And suddenly this relationship is no fun anymore. I want to point out that the mental patient is played by Michael Patrick King.
It is?
It is Michael Patrick King, yes.
Sometimes I wish you told me these factoids before I watched it. Because now I have to fucking go back and watch it again. God damn it, Michael, you got me.
But it is Michael Patrick King, so I think that's his only appearance in the show.
No way. Really? That's the only cameo?
He
was like, this is the time.
And then
I'm going to break the glass.
Me in the comments, but I think this is his cameo in the show, yeah.
That's incredible. Like, he's had so many opportunities that he's been like, no, I don't want to do it. And then this was the time where he's like,
put me in,
break
coach.
Glass, put me in, coach.
Yeah. A little fun Easter egg for you. So I like that Carrie's like, you're definitely the sanest person here. And then,
we don't know what's his problem, though, Carrie.
I'm still confused. And then he's like, well, when I get out of here in 8 to 10 months, which is a long time.
That's a lot. That is a lot of time.
Would imply that there's a bigger issue. And then he's like, maybe we're just in different places and it's not right for us to be dating. It's amazing that he, the guy in the mental institution, is the only one to say, you know what, maybe this isn't a good idea. And then Carrie's like, it was the sanest breakup I've ever had. And I'm like, you need to be here also.
Yeah, and to actually check yourself in.
Actually, I think this was a ploy to get you to come.
Once again, we have reached the point in the show where we're like, the show wouldn't exist if Carrie had a therapist.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So then we cut to the LGBTQ prom, which is hosted by our last cameo, Lady Bunny, who's a big drag queen. I was going to say historic, but then I feel like that sounds like a read. But she's like of the RuPaul like tier of like drag queens who have been around for like decades is what I mean to say.
Yeah. She's not ancient.
She's not ancient, but she is like an ancestor, And I like that Carrie and Stanford are matching here. Like they're both in their little like high school blues. And they, of course, are awarded homecoming king and queen. Carrie's like, I'm so happy to be back with the normal people. And I can't tell if it's a dig at gay people or not. So I'm just going to keep moving.
Yeah, we don't need to unpack that.
But Marcus shows up and he's like, that escort thing was true and I should have told you about it, but it's not who I am anymore. It's not who I've been for a while. And Stanford kind of is like, okay, but just promise me you never met up with that bitchy pine nut, Anthony. Which I'm like, is that a slur against Italians?
Oh, I didn't even. I just thought it was funny.
This is where I become Chris Cuomo because I'm like, pine nuts are famously in pesto.
Yeah.
Alfredo is a racist slur.
It's anti-Italian discrimination.
So, pine nuts. But I did have a moment where I was like, what is pine nut? Is it an Italian slur? Do I need to look this up? But obviously it's fine.
Yeah. That's always the most effective slur is when someone has to go, is that a slur?
Is that a slur? Let me look it up. But they reunite and it's so sweet and they're back and, sex work is okay.
They couldn't marry and like, I know that they have to get married. I just mean like, we didn't have to put him with Anthony. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why their relationship ends, but it does end. It does have an episode where it does end. I don't remember why.
I thought it was just like he's here for this episode.
When we get there, it will be disappointing.
Okay.
No, Marcus is in several episodes. I don't remember when he's introduced or if this is his introduction or not, but he is in a couple episodes because it's like a thing that like Stanford has a hot boyfriend kind of. It's a joke at his expense.
Okay.
We love that. We love tearing down our friends for dating hot people.
Yes. We love making our friends feel like we're judging them.
Because we are. But then we end on like one of the weirdest lines.
Yeah.
Where Carrie goes, love is like them getting back together reminds me that love is possible. Anything is possible. This is New York. What? Come again?
I'm glad we're on the same page with that. What?
What about this episode is about the magic of New York? Some episodes are like clearly about the magic of New York, and that's fine. Yeah. What about this was about the magic of New York?
We had such a cohesive theme throughout, and then all of a sudden, it's like they used the wrong line that was supposed to be the end of a different episode, and it snuck its way into the script, and someone forgot to catch it. Like, it does it because it's the build-up because she's pausing, and then this, and love is great, whatever, and the subtitles literally had ... It's New York, ... And I was like, that's anticlimactic. What are you talking about? Also, the scene of her, the shot of her, like, dancing and looking at them is kind of funny, because it's supposed to be kind of like her, like, happy dancing by herself in the prom or whatever, but there's something about the way Sarah Jessica Parker is, like, trying to look sexy, and she's kind of doing, like, a pout while, like, drinking, because she likes the sort of the scene, right? It's like a dancing by yourself with a tiara scene, but it just looks very out of place. The like sexy pout looks very like sinister.
Yeah.
The way that she's looking at Stanford and Mark, she's like, looks very,
I mean, she is the straight white woman at the LGBTQ event. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm sure everybody else in that I'm not trying to speak for the community, but I'm sure everybody else in that ballroom was like, is she okay?
Yeah.
Like, ew, does she have some sort of weird pervy need to like, I don't know, think of gay guys? Like, I don't know. That's what I would be thinking.
What's her fetish? What's going on here?
Yeah, can I help her?
Security?
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like what it should have, calling back to the column and this whole episode, it should have been like love can be crazy, love can be complicated, but at the end of the day, like love is love and love is simple is like what it should have been, because that at least would have tied back to the column. The fact that
adults
it's like,
overcomplicating things.
This is New York. I can't.
Welcome to New York starts playing.
Yeah. It feels like that. Whoa, that actually is a good edit, because then it like zooms out on the whole party and I hear it.
Yeah, you can see it a little too easily.
A little too easily. I just love the idea that like you can get out of any episode by being like, it's New York.
Yeah. That is what is exactly happening, I think. Yeah. Pull the lever.
Well, that's the end of this episode. We end all our podcasts the same exact way, which is with our high and our low, our rose and our thorn. Emily, what was your low of this episode? What was your diarrhea?
This is a hard one because I actually did enjoy this. As kind of confusing and strange as it is, I enjoyed a lot of it. I think the low is when I think of the scene where he comes in with the marbles. I think was the first time where I was kind of like, am I liking this? I don't know if I'm liking this anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree that I too had to like pause the TV and be like, wow, we're going to go there. I'll say that Charlotte has no plot in this episode.
Oh my God, I completely fucking forgot.
She's in two
There
scenes.
is another person in this friend group
who is just sidelined to 2 scenes and just being supportive. Which, good for her. They don't
take a break.
Have to have plots every episode, but
Yeah,
this is even worse than the Samantha cobbled plot of the last episode.
Yeah, she really actually didn't have anything. I totally forgot.
Yeah. What was your high of the episode? What was your release the Kraken?
Honestly, I think it has to be Samantha saying "Inja."
I was gonna, yeah.
So funny.
It's too memorable.
Yeah.
I'll do passing the note. That was really good. Like, that's a great way to have some sort of silly cliche thing like put in the episode. But the whole Soho House plot, top to bottom, I love.
Very fun.
Very relatable. Well, and that's the episode, Sex and the City Season 6, Episode 10, Boy Interrupted. If you enjoyed this episode, I can only assume you've enjoyed every other episode because you've heard every one at least twice. Oh my God, thank you so much. Please be sure to like and subscribe. We don't offer memberships to Soho House. Big shame right there, but we're working on it. And in order for us to get the Soho House sponsorship, we're going to need you guys to really pull together an audience for us to fucking get on it. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.